You know, it's Saturday night here. I just got done watching No Free Lunch win, and that was a great mile, great drive by James. A long day. I mean, we stayed overnight in Pennsylvania last night, woke up at 7 o'clock, drove all the way back to Northfield, and there was rain off and on, but not bad, just enough to keep the sun out and the crazy heat out. But by the time we were done, it was like 1 o'clock, and I was exhausted. I guess partially from racing all day the day before and hanging out with the kids in the pool the night before and, everything that goes into that. I get home and I was wiped out. So I had a nap and it was nice. It was beautiful when I went to bed, when I went to have a nap. I woke up to the most torrential downpour I've seen in quite a while. And it was something else. It went on for like 10 minutes. A lot of rain fell here, but then the sun always comes right back out. It reminds me a lot of home. I used to do that. Mosquito. No. Got you. It reminds me a lot of home. That used to happen on PEI. Living in an island, living close to a big body of water, you get that sometimes, right? And it was something else. Quite the downpour. So I was awakened and I said, there's still lots of sun left. Let's go drink. Still lots of sun left. I'm sharp. I had a nap. No Free Lunch was a winner. Let's take the rest of the night and do a few videos. We don't have anything on the docket for tonight. Gray's New Reds racing later on. Blue Monk is racing later on, and so is Brave World. So there's still lots of racing tonight. But I wanted to sit down and run through the videos. Now, the 2-year-olds this week, obviously, were front and center. Qualifying, we had our first starter in Rose Above It, and he raced incredible. Would have been a winner a number of different ways. If I stay behind the 5, wheel him 3 deep, he's a winner. If I drag him into the passing lane, he's a winner. If I don't get tangled up with David Wade, he's a winner. But he ended up 3rd, placed 4th. So I had talked extensively in the videos. Listen, I can call a spade when I've interfered with somebody, but I won't pay a fine for being interfered with. I am going to appeal the decision for the horse, and it has nothing to do with the money. You're talking about a few $100. It has nothing to do with the fine. It has everything to do with the principle of it and the fact that a mistake was made. And as a driver, if I make mistakes, that happens. I gotta pay the piper. And judges are only human, and they make mistakes too, and they definitely made a mistake in my mind, and I think I'll be able to prove that. So, as I said, 2-year-olds are front and center. Rose Above It showed, if nothing else, the training that we offered him, you go back, you want to take a little while, maybe take 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and you can see what training horses the way we train horses does for a horse like him. Now, every horse is different. I don't want to say this is our program, this is what we do. But when it comes to a horse like Rose Above It, you go back and look at how ignorant he was in December, January, February, how tough he was to get along with, how tough he was to train and drive and just really do anything with. And from continually changing and putting you in a position to learn, he did. He learned, but it took a long time. And then you take all that work and all that frustration of the winter and the spring and put it behind the gate. Qualifier was pretty good. Took him to the Meadows the other day. Now, as a driver, you're driving 2-year-old trotters. You got to be careful. Don't put them in a position to make a mistake. Don't ask them for too much. Don't double them up too much. Really, what you want is a nice, even keel mile from a 2-year-old trotter, especially first lifetime start. I thought that maybe he'd get a little hot first time at the Meadows. Maybe he's going to get a little warm and I'm going to have to let him trot out of there a bit. Nope. Put him right up in the gate. What I love about this horse, too, we took the head check off him, which is extremely rare for a 2-year-old trotter with hobbles on. Extremely rare. When we take the head check off him, when he goes to accelerate, he ducks his head. And there's no fighting with the head check. And this isn't always, it isn't like, oh, I got to take the head checks off the horses. No. But in this case, it works well with this horse. He drops his head as he picks up speed, and he doesn't fight with you. I could have left with him, but I was so happy that he wasn't hot, I just let him fall off the gate. Got away 5th, and what I love about him, you can put him right on the bumper of somebody, right on the helmet in front of him, and he never gets agitated, ever. He'll sit there the whole time. Move him, he accelerated, I dove him to the inside, and he took off and wanted to attack. If the horse stays along the rail and I don't get down to the inside, I win in the 3-wide path. Regardless if David Wade runs or not, I go around him and I win. If I drag him to the inside, now here was the only kicker, but the other day also, we put a line pole on the inside of him, and I didn't want to force him down to the inside, especially when that horse made a break. I got lots of room. He's going to move. Anyway, I don't want to get into that. But to go back and look at how Rose Above It has transformed from the horse we bought at the sale to the horse I raced at the Meadows yesterday is pretty incredible. And really, as a trainer, it just makes you feel good to see that take place. You know, to go from such a hard to get along with animal to such a pleasant horse to drive, it really is something else. From a driver's standpoint, he is an A+ and then some, a perfect horse to deal with. Now, he's not going to go out and set track records, but he'll follow. He can accelerate. He was going to win in 57 and piece 58 yesterday, and he'll trot in 56 no problem. That was nowhere near the bottom of his tank. He was coming again at the wire. The sky's the limit for Rose Above It. So let's get right into it. Almost There Boss qualified good. Last half 57 flat. Last quarter 28 and 4 on a Harry City. Still a little rickety in places. He would like to get him re-examined again. Now we're going to see this happen from time to time. Especially if you have horses with a couple little aches and pains, and you'll go to the vet and they'll patch up one, or they'll focus on one more than the other, or lose sight of a second or a third issue because they're focused on that trigger, what they believe that trigger, and that's human nature. So Almost There Boss, Harry believes there's something bothering him in his left front. He does have an old OCD he had 2 of them, but neither of them were in a place where the vet said to operate on them, so it wasn't a big deal. I don't think that has changed. But is there something bothering him on the left side? We'll see. But he thought it was nothing serious. The horse was full of pace, loaded, big last half. Remember, this was his first qualifier. You got to see a lot of these other horses with 2 qualifiers now. Some of them hard training trips that we've documented and 2 qualifiers. Almost There Boss, this was his first big, his first big mile where, we were dropping the hammer on this guy. And Almost There Boss, 1, I thought looked great. 2, we're going to take him to the vet on Monday just to make sure everything's all right. Amor Diener. Now, here's an interesting story. Qualified in 2-3. Mario sent him over here. I said, Anthony, we took his blood. His liver count is up. We've heard that with the number of racehorses. We don't really know why. It happened in Australia to one of our horses, our best filly over there. It happened all over the U.S., all over Canada. It seems to be a thing now, and when their liver counts jump, they can't function. Remember White Tiger, when his jumped, he couldn't do anything right. We had to give Oso Pine time off in the winter. This horse's level was not quite as high as White Tiger's, but higher than Oso Pine's when we had to stop with him. So he comes over here. I don't know what I'm going to do with him. I can't really take him to the Meadows and qualify him without knowing. I don't want to go over there and qualify him and have him look bad. So the Meadows is off the table for Tuesday, but maybe we can go Thursday if he looks okay. So I go out and train him. Again, I just got back to Northfield at 10 o'clock in the morning, 9:40, something like that. I put him in the bike. I get over the half in 1-1 and 1 mile, 59 and 3 with him. So Amor Diener come out 58 and 3 and looked absolutely fantastic. I'm definitely not going to take him to the Meadows after training him 3 days before in 59. But I'm going to keep a close eye on this colt all week. Thursday's not perfect. Obviously, 59 5 days out is not ideal. But at the same time, it's a workable timeline. I'm going to let him tell me if he can. It's easy to tell you, yeah, that'll work. But he's the one that has to do it. So did he eat all his... I'm going to go back later on. Did he eat all his lunch? Did he eat his breakfast tomorrow? Is he feeling good? Is he jogging good? Still want to I'm going to make a little shoeing change on that horse behind. But all these things will either culminate in he is going on Thursday or he is not. And either way, you can't take away what he did this morning. 59 and 3 last half, 58 with a liver count of 170 is impressive. Very impressive. So we'll keep working on him, get that down. The fact that he can do what he just did with that liver count up, as I said, aside from impressive, is uplifting. Because when I saw the blood work, I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, we're not going to be able to race this horse for a few weeks. But we'll see how he comes out of his training trip, how he looks this week, and then we'll decide, is he going to go Thursday? Is it going to be next Tuesday? Are we going to be able to drive that liver count down in time for him to be effective. Keep in mind, these aren't counts that just come down. You can't just give them some magic medication and, oh, great, their liver count comes down. It just doesn't work that way. So, I was just thinking about it when I was saying it. When Amy was in the hospital with Adeline, her liver count kept jumping and jumping and jumping and jumping. And it did well after our baby was born. So I don't really know the ins and outs. I'm not a scientist or a doctor, and I know there's people out there Googling it right now and saying, oh, I'm going to send Anthony this report or that. This is how you get it. Every horse is different. Every case is different. At the end of the day, I have enough on my plate. I'm going to defer to the medical professionals. I'm going to defer to the vet when it comes to how we treat this specific case. So Amor Diener was very, very good training today for the Amor Diener group out there. Very strong. This is by himself. 59. And this isn't Tamiko. This isn't, it's short. This is Northfield Park. It's a fast track, but at the same time, it's a full half-mile track. 1:59 and 2 or 3 off a half and 1:1, and he was very, very good. Arches Rainbow, now she went out to the field for a week. I wanted to give this filly a week off. The vet said she just seemed a little drawn out after she was scoped. She was a little bit sick. So I said, okay, stop. What will we normally do? How are we going to change that? And what do we think is the best thing for her? How about a week in the field? If you're going to treat her for a week with medication, and she's already trained in 2-3 last half in a minute while she was sick, let's give the filly a week off. So she went out to the field for a week. Johnny's going to pick her up tomorrow. She will not qualify next Friday. The following Friday, Arches Rainbow will be in to go. Better Be Sawyer. Harry asked to send her to the vet again. Final vet check for her. Said she was good, but the track was very hard. Put a couple of steps in down the lane, Harry thought. So he said, if Almost There Boss is going, can we send Sawyer? There was another horse of Harry's he wanted to go. I think there was 3. There's definitely 3 of them. I'll get to the other one on this list anyway. So Better Be Sawyer qualified great both trips. Really happy with her. She's going to head to the vet Monday just to make sure. Maybe just going to make sure we didn't miss anything. Blue Bayou Dio looked fantastic the other day. Little Judas James there jumped off Dio. Now, I guess James has other accounts. Now, we're brothers, and obviously he works for us in the wintertime. He's not helping out right now. He'll go in and train from time to time, but they're there now. The main job we needed James for is done. But he has other accounts too, and I know Blake wanted him to go with some trotter that he was in with, and I can't blame him. Ours is a Trixton, New Jersey bred. Blake's is an Ontario bred. I think I would do the same thing. So Blue Bayou Deal, Sylvain jumped on. Johnny had it ready to go. He said she did the same thing. Sylvain said she did the same thing. Kind of darted out a little bit, just green. So James said maybe a line pole on the outside, or I talked to him briefly about it. I think he said he had a Murphy head pole inside. We're going to put the Murphy outside head pole inside, and away you go. I think that's what we're going to do with Dio. Johnny had messaged me today and said, hey, where do you want to race her? There's a 2-year-old race at Mohawk for trotters, which is going to be tough, which is fine. Put her in. Stretch her out. I want to see what she's made of. She doesn't have to go to the well this week, especially if James is driving her. She won't. But I want to see what she can do not in the mud, with the equipment on the way we believe it should be. So, yeah, put her at Mohawk. Put the other ones in the maidens. They're not 2-year-old maidens yet, but at the same time, they need some experience. They need to get going. So, Blue Bayou Deal, I believe the plan is to race her Thursday at Mohawk Raceway. Bomb Hugger, we talked about Bomb Hugger. I don't have to continue. You want to go on my top 15 list if you want to know about Bomb Hugger. Back on the top of the heap. I think we had 14 or 15 horses, 1 qualifiers, have already taken lifetime marks, but no one. I know that Mary's going to say Renegade looked great, and I'm going to tell you Off Tum looked great, and Jason's going to tell you that, and Cindy's going to tell you that Grace looked great. No one looked as good as Bomb Hugger. 2-year-olds don't do what she just did. Century Invictus is coming. I would like to see him go out and qualify in 56 last quarter and 27 with a bow in his neck. I would love it. Didn't happen. But he did qualify good. Second or third, I believe, closing in. Looked pretty good today. I was happy with him. I'd like to see him build on that and turn into a decent horse. Confederate Cruiser, great mile out of him the other day. So Cruiser's got the rail. I'm driving Procrastinator from Post 7. Luke Ebersol is going to drive Cruiser. I talked in the opening in the other video about why they're in together, why they're in Wednesday. We had the option to go to Scioto, which I would have rather done with Procrastinator. The problem is two things. First thing, the class here on Wednesday was not going to go if we didn't put the other horse in, right? It was not going. Two, and it falls under, as I said in the other video, a bird in the hand's worth two in the bush. We could have waited and gone to Scioto, but there's nothing saying it would have filled there either. Now, they'll probably have two divisions now that I said that. But it may not fill there either. And if it didn't, then we're left with Schooling. And I figured, you know what, let's put them into race. So Confederate Cruiser and Procrastinator are going to race together on Wednesday. I'm going with Procrastinator. Luke Ebersol's going for him. Now, Confederate Cruiser is a sweet little horse. He is going to be so fun to race all summer. I can't wait. But at the same time, I don't want to keep going to the well. And I used him right to the wire the other day. And 56 will turn into faster miles. You know that. But at the same time, I don't want to keep going to the well on Confederate Cruiser. Procrastinator's a little different. He was uncomfortable on the front end. He did all the work himself. He's a bigger, stronger colt. I think, I don't want to say one's better than the other because they're two very, very different horses, but Procrastinator is the horse that we are going to be sending to the, I think it's fairly official now, Procrastinator is the horse that we are going to be sending more than likely to, I keep saying more than likely, we'll see what happens Wednesday, I suppose. I would say if Procrastinator doesn't race good, there's at least a good chance that we could look to sell that spot, but I think the way Procrastinator's felt, he deserves a chance. I would like to see him get a chance. So we'll see. We'll see. Still a lot up in the air, but when it comes to these two particular colts, Confederate Cruiser is not going to the next generation. He's going to be a lot of fun to race at a lot of different places, but the next generation is not going to be one of them. Duke Dio, trained him today in 2-2 by himself. Very good. I screwed up. I told you guys the other day. Forgot to put him in to qualify. Jason and I were talking about all the babies entering. Duke Dio was right there. See, the problem was Jason had entered all his 2-year-olds, but hadn't entered Duke Dio for whatever reason. And then he found out later why. He remembered, for some reason, the USTA has Duke Dio as a Trixton pacer in their database. So when he went to enter him in the trot, it wouldn't allow him, and he was talking about it, and he has to call the race office, but he didn't know how to add the horse. And then he had all the other horses on his plate and everything to do. He missed it. And so did I. So Duke didn't qualify Thursday, which is fine. He was great at the gate when Justin went with him. And when I trained him today, he was all business. I'd like to see him put a little more weight on also. And he's a good eater, so he will. But he's not going to be going to New Jersey, right? There's no Duke Dio sightings in New Jersey in June. I want this horse to turn into a very, very nice 2-year-old, and I think he can. But there's no rush. Eyes at 10. Very peculiar case here. This is a filly that dominated everybody training down the fillies. This was our filly to go to the next generation. The problem is when she started going quarters in 28, 29, she started touching a knee and touching a jack. Now that precipitated us to change her shoeing. And as you change her shoeing, you change her trajectory, you change the way she goes. Not to mention, as she was hitting herself, she was starting to get frustrated. She was starting to get angry. And I think Amy was starting to get angry at me too because she wanted to know why all these other horses were going faster now and Eyes at 10 wasn't. She hit a hurdle and it has nothing to do with speed, but I don't want to hurt her. And as we change her shoeing, that changes the way she hits the ground and comes off the ground. So you're opening her up to new stresses in new areas. Be careful. Not to mention she was still hitting that left hind, exact same place that Glary M hits, by the way. How are we going to get her on it? The shoeing we have on her now, I'm happy with. We had changed her equipment and her shoeing, and you could see the difference in her qualifier on Thursday. No, they didn't go fast. I can't tell them what to do up front, right? I just wanted to take the filly off the gate, sit her quietly, have her behave, fall back on the training and the learning she had from October till now, and just learn, just relax. She didn't go error-free. She did touch her knee. She did touch her jack. But not as bad. I think we're going in the right direction. As she gets stronger, you're going to see her get much better. As I said to Amy, she's not ready to go to the next generation. Not yet. But at the same time, she's definitely fast enough. So just take your time. It's going to take 3 weeks. I don't want to rush this filly. It will take 3 weeks to get her to where I think she can be. Until that, I might take her to the fair. I might take her to the Buckeye. She's not going to the next generation right now. And I think everybody should understand why. She trotted a fine mile the other day. She did everything perfectly. I could have sprinted past them maybe, but I didn't want to have her mauling herself, hitting herself down lane. She's trying to come forward, and I got a hold of her going under the wire. I could have chased them right to the wire. No doubt I could have went by them, but at what cost? I don't want to hit her knee any harder than she did or get into her jack. As she gets stronger, she'll widen out a little bit more. As her feet grow out a little bit more, there'll be less discomfort in her feet. She'll feel more comfort overall. She'll turn into a better horse. But this all takes time. I can't rush this part of it. I can help her out and qualify her just like we did the other day, but I can't make her feet grow fast. I can't make her put muscle on in the places she needs it. All I can do is try and teach her while she does it. So you're going to see this filly, as I said, probably go to the fair, probably go to the Buckeye, but learn. It's no different than a top prospect in a sports team going down to the minors. It's not that they belong in the minors, it's that they need to work on their basics a little more. This filly's basics are a little, they're not basic, right? She's interfering a little bit. Okay, how do we keep her comfortable? How do we keep her head screwed on straight? I think we've accomplished that. Now, how do we allow her to accelerate without getting frustrated moving forward? These are things we're going to work on over the next few weeks. Garden State Dio, she's coming over here. Made a little break on James the other day. Said she was interfering in the straightaways a little bit. Fine. We're going to tinker with her when we get her over here and qualify her here and or the Meadows, and we'll get her underway. This is a filly that I did actually think was going to New Jersey, but as it's June 18th and the stakes start in 2.5 weeks, keep in mind, we're not going to a place to race. We are going to a place where Muscle Hill lives, where Walner lives, where all the best mares are either bred in Pennsylvania or New Jersey. You are swimming with the sharks in the deepest end of the pool. You can't go there kind of ready. You have to be ready or not. This is a big filly. She's staked in Kentucky. She's staked in New Jersey. She has lots of stakes all year. I have zero interest in taking her there to New Jersey. The only horses in my mind that are going to New Jersey, I think Unbeatable Kemp has got a very good chance to end up in New Jersey at the end of the month. And I'm very interested to see what takes place with Blue Bayou Dio. Is she fast enough? She's not a big filly. Is she fast enough? Is she going to benefit from a trip to the East Coast in the U.S.? Or is it just racer there, racer in a couple of the stakes that are around Mohawk? Again, Kentucky eligible also. So lots going on here, but as we get closer to that deadline for New Jersey, I'm going to say there's one horse in my mind I think will go to New Jersey. That's Unbeatable Kemp. The rest of our New Jersey breds, you don't go to New Jersey unless you're ready to rock, and you'd want to bring a gun to that gunfight. No knives going there. And when it comes to the horses we got some nice horses, but to race against the things that I saw qualify today at the Meadowlands, they're not going unless they can do. Oh, this is slow tonight, isn't it? Grace looked fantastic the other day. You really can't ask for anything more or anything more from her. If you'd asked me a month ago or at any point, what would make you happy? What would Grace have to do to make you happy? She's already done it. She's done everything perfectly. So, top marks for Grace. Granite Hill, I had one of my partners message me tonight and said, what is wrong with him? What is wrong with him? I told everybody he ran all winter. I told everybody as his stifle gets stronger, as his body gets stronger, you'll see this horse incrementally get better. But for anybody out there that thought he should go out and qualify in 2 minutes or 2-1, I just don't think you're being realistic in your approach to what needs to take place for Granite Hill. I'm happy. He's qualified. He went twice in 2-5. We'll go to the fairs. We'll go to the Buckeyes. He'll bang around. He'll get stronger. And as he gets stronger, you're going to see a good horse. But you're only going to see the very best Granite Hill at 3. He doesn't interfere, so there's no reason why he can't. I have Cindy calling me, and I know that our boy is racing at Georgian Downs, so I had better call her right back. I will pick up this list in just a minute, starting from Harvard Yard.